Hi, I'm Zhou Wu. I'm a journalist covering the city Asian community. Upcoming is a candidate forum I recently covered in early March at a community center in San Francisco's Chinatown. This is a live recording of a debate with 4 candidates who are running to replace longtime San Francisco Representative Nancy Pelosi's seat. The event is hosted by 3 Asian political clubs in the city that don't often see eye to eye: the Chinese American Democratic Club, the Atlee Democratic Club, and the Rose Pack Asian American Club. Joining them were 2 of the city's biggest Chinese language news outlets, Xingtao Newspaper and KTSF TV. In the original debate, after the candidate answered the questions in English, all remarks were translated to Cantonese for the non-English speakers. We cut the translation for this audio production, but you can see the full unedited video in my story of the event at sfpublicpress.org. The candidates presented that day are Chaikat Chakrabarti, Connie Chen, Marie Harabio, and Scott Winner. Let's get into their introductions.
Now is the time for our candidates' opening statement. It's the rule of our meeting. We have 1 minute limitation for English, and then for 1 minute for the Cantonese interpretation. So the order will be your last names, alphabetic order. First, we're going to welcome Choi Kat Kabarati Choi Ta. Thank you.
My parents came to this country with only $8, but because of their sacrifice and a great public school education, I was able to attend Harvard University. I came to San Francisco in 2009 and helped build the tech company Stripe as a founding engineer. That made me wealthy, but I watched my neighbors struggle to afford to live here. The American dream that my family achieved was dying, so I left tech to fix it. I led technology for the Bernie Sanders campaign in 2016 and then started an organization to challenge corrupt politicians. I ran AOC's Congressional campaign in 2018. And as her chief of staff in Congress, I wrote the Green New Deal. That led to the largest investment in climate action and union jobs in history. I'm raising a family in San Francisco. I have a daughter in Chinese immersion school. I want her to grow up in a city where everybody has the opportunity to succeed. But I've seen firsthand how corruption in Congress stops that. I'm running to end the corruption and change the Democratic Party to create a society that works for all.
大家好，我係蔡特。我父母當年喺印度移民到美國嘅時候，身上只係得8蚊。佢哋靠節衣縮食，同埋得到我嘅優質公立學校嘅培育，我可以進入哈佛大學就讀。喺2009年，我嚟到三藩市，並以創始工程師嘅身份協助建立科技公司，佢嘅名叫做 Stripe。我白手興家。Stripe 讓我擁有我應得嘅財富，但我亦都睇到身邊嘅鄰居為咗喺呢度嘅生活係好辛苦咁掙扎。我同我屋企人曾經實現咗嘅美國夢嘅機會正係消逝，因此我決定離開科技界。我希望有一日可以改變呢個現狀。2016年，我負責桑德斯競選團隊嘅科技工作，之後我創立咗一個組織。專門挑戰貪腐嘅政客。2018年，我帶領歐海秀，一個全無政治背景嘅新人，去參選紐約國會議員同埋佢嘅競選團隊，並喺佢當選之後進入國會，擔當佢嘅幕僚長。我喺國會贊述綠色能源政策，最終成為。
Thank you.
Thank
Your
you.
time is up. Next, let's welcome Connie Chen. 下一位有請陳詩敏。
大家好，我係陳詩敏，第一區市參市。Hi everyone, it's good to see everyone here. We're running for Congress because we're here to fight for working families. I came to San Francisco's Chinatown when I was 13 years old with my single mom and a younger brother. We did not speak a word of English, but here we are. We took roots and we thrived. And today I am your budget committee chair, have been fighting for working families in San Francisco and making sure that we have a balanced budget and not leaving anybody behind. But we know that it's not enough because the Trump administration's been cutting our health care, cutting our education, and also putting ICE on the streets, hurting our immigrant community. This is the reason why we are running for Congress. We want to take the voice from San Francisco for the working people all the way to Washington, D.C.
Hi, next we have Marie Harabel.
Neho, Nyohai, Hoi Hu Wai. I'm Marie Harabiel, and I'm running for Congress because I think we need to bring more common sense leadership to our government. Our problems are best solved when we bring people together and lead with pragmatism, just like Daniel Lurie has done. I was an early supporter of his, and that is what I want to do for you in Congress. Chinese Americans have shaped our city, from engineers, teachers, attorneys. You have shaped our city, and you have a place in my office when I am in Congress. I want to bring the people that I have worked with, that I have stood side by side with in fighting Chesapeake, fighting for algebra in schools, fighting to keep merit at Lowell, one of the leaders of the recall of the school board members. We have stood shoulder to shoulder in these fights, and I look forward to working with all of you, the people that I have worked with in this room, when you send me as your representative to Congress.
Thank you. Next, let's welcome Scott Wiener.
大家好，我係參議院外勝哥。I'm Scott Wiener, and it's an honor to represent our community in the state Senate. Working together, we have fought for more housing and to make housing more affordable. We have fought for expanded access to health care and to protect health care from the assaults from the federal government, including making sure that we fund acupuncture benefits under Medi-Cal. We have fought together to protect funding for public transportation so that people can get around on Muni and BART. We have protected education funding, K through 12, UC, CSU. We have reinstated 8th grade algebra and fought for good education for our kids. We have fought to protect our immigrant communities from the assaults that they are experiencing. Immigrants make our city what it is. And we have fought for public safety, pushing back against anti-AAPI hate, fighting against vehicle break-ins, and all of the public safety challenges we have. I have delivered resources for this community, whether Chinese Hospital, Chinese Culture Center, May School, Portsmouth Square, and I will always fight for this community in Congress. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Now we're going to announce some of the rules for this forum. For the equity of simplicity purpose, candidates will answer questions based on the simple rotating order. Candidates should refrain from referencing or attacking other candidates, or you will be interrupted. And the moderators may issue a warning if a candidate's interpretation appears materially different from the candidate's original statement. In such cases, the moderator will ask the official interpreters provided by the co-host to immediately provide a proper interpretation. Okay, we'll let the question start. This one will start from Connie. The United States has historically been a nation of refugee and new beginnings for people seeking opportunities and survival. Yet, under the current administration, we saw the hostile tactics towards other countries. Do you believe the United States is still that shining beacon of the West? How should our country engage with the rest of the world moving forward?
Donald Trump is the biggest threat to our national security and to our global security. That because of Donald Trump, that the United States' role, long-standing role as an agent for peace and support, not only for our people, but really for our all the allies and countries around the globe, we have significantly lost our standing. And this is the reason why in Congress, we must take back that power of oversight to hold the Donald Trump administration accountable. And one of the things that we also must do immediately, I will be supporting and pushing in Congress, is to restore the funding for USAID. We know that USAID has prioritized humanitarian aid for our allies, for other countries. It has been a long-standing ways for United States to maintain peace, not just for between us and other nations, but really nations all around the world. This is critical. And I also believe that when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, it is about people to people. We need to make sure that as people, we need to continue to be welcoming.
To answer your question, yes, America still is the shiny beacon around the world. This is the country that people flock to and don't want to leave. We are a country of immigrants. This country welcomes people, brings them in, and gives them an amazing opportunity for a better life that you cannot find anywhere else in the world. In order to maintain our leadership, we need to focus on diplomacy going forward. We need to bring other countries along with us, but we also must focus on encouraging more immigration to this country with H-1B visas, and we need some reform there. I do think we need some reform of our immigration system so that more people can come here legally and be contributing members of our society, add to the richness of our society, and also have that amazing opportunity for a better life. Thank you.
The United States has always been a beacon, and Trump is trying to destroy that, and we need to stop him. Immigrants make our country better. My great-grandparents fled here from Eastern Europe and Russia, fleeing anti-Jewish violence, and waves of immigrants over time have come here to make lives for themselves, and they make our country better, and we should get back to that. And we need to end the reign of terror against immigrants in this country. Trump is trying to undermine our democracy. He is supporting tyrants around the world, including Putin. He is alienating our allies, trying to destroy NATO. He is starting wars, the latest in Iran, an illegal war that is going very, very poorly for this country. And we are in a moment in time where the United States needs to play a leadership role around climate change, working with countries around the world, AI, fostering economic prosperity, fostering health, investing in health. Instead, Trump is pulling back. We need to get him out of office, take back Congress, and restore American leadership and restore that beacon on the hill.
America is losing its standing in the world, and yes, Donald Trump is supercharging that with a new war in Iran and dragging us into World War III. But we have to be clear, this predates Donald Trump. We've had a failed foreign policy under Democratic and Republican administrations that's believed that we should use our military might to subjugate the rest of the world, and that's been disastrous. Millions of people have died. We have a bloated and corrupt Pentagon right now, and we've lost our standing in the world. We need a new foreign policy. In Congress, I will fight to take the power of declaring war back into the hands of Congress, slash our military budget, end U.S. interventionism abroad, and create a new foreign policy based on respecting the sovereignty of nations, based on peace, and based on using aid to develop new relationships and alliances. There has been a bipartisan consensus for war amongst people. People do not want a bigger military budget. Only 16% of Republicans and only 3% of Democrats want more money in the military, and yet we just passed a $900 billion defense budget with 115 Democrats voting for it. The only way to change from a bipartisan consensus for war to peace is to replace the corrupt Democrats and Republicans advocating for it.
Thank you. Thank you for candidates and the interpreters. The second question will start from Marie. It's about immigration. While the immigration enforcement is under the spotlight, and we would like to focus on immigration reform and protecting family-based immigration pathway. So what kind of reforms would you support to modernize the immigration system while protecting family reunification visas and permanent residency?
Thank you. The family reunification process is a beautiful tradition that allows families to reunite. Our process right now is lengthy and it causes families to be separated for much longer than necessary. So I think a lot of this focuses on modernizing the system and truly looking at citizens who have come here, naturalized citizens who have come here, who are contributing members of society, who have come here and done their part legally to make it much easier for them to bring their families here, their relatives here, so they can be together in the United States. I think that is a wonderful way to enhance our immigration system. I also think the H-1B visa process needs to be streamlined. There have been some problems with that recently, and that is a great way to bring very talented and skilled people, which is what our country has been built on.
First, we have to put a stop to Trump's attack on birthright citizenship. I'm proud that birthright citizenship started right here in Chinatown out of a case that went to the US Supreme Court, and we need to protect it. We need a pathway to citizenship. When people say, oh, just do it the legal way, there really is not much of a legal way anymore. In the 1980s, we created a path for the millions of people in this country who have been contributing to this country and had no path to citizenship. We gave them a path. We should do that again for so many hardworking immigrants in this country. We need to make sure that DACA recipients have a path to quick citizenship. We need to restart the green card program, which has been destroyed by this administration. And we need to get rid of ICE and move that function back to the Department of Justice, which is where it was before 9/11, and make sure that the Department of Justice is more independent of the president so that we end the reign of terror.
So number one, we have to protect birthright citizenship and also protect naturalized citizens. My parents are naturalized citizens, and right now, Trump is investigating the naturalization process. They called me just a few months ago, worried, wondering what they should do about this. And I'll fight to make sure we protect that. Second, we're going to have to hold ICE accountable, and we have to make sure ICE agents know that when Democrats are in power, we will hold them accountable. Right now, there have been over 2,700 constitutional violations by ICE agents. I will make sure they're held accountable for that. I'll also make sure we claw back the $75 billion that we gave to ICE. ICE has the same budget as the military of Canada right now. We should be using that money to invest in housing, education, and transportation here. And finally, we have to expand the legal ways to get to this country. When my parents came to this country, we used to recruit people around the world to come here. We were such an optimistic nation. We actually had offices all over the world begging immigrants to come. That's how my father got here. A friend of his took him to an immigration office in Calcutta, where a staffer pitched him on the American dream, and he applied for a visa, and then he got it 2 years later. That's possible to build again if we build an optimistic and growing nation.
From day one, Donald Trump administration has threatened our birthright citizenship, our naturalized citizenship, but we know what to do in San Francisco. We are a sanctuary city. We know why we're a sanctuary city, because our immigrant community has contributed to the greatness of this city. We know what to do, and as your budget committee chair, we know that when Trump threatened us, we have invested additional funding to our immigration legal funds. We have invested in ways that to support people so that they have pathways to citizenship. We know that we must invest in our immigrant community. And so in Congress, that's what we will do.
Okay, now we come to the third question. We'll start from Scott. Nancy Pelosi has been a strong supporter of Taiwan, also pushing for arms sales to Taiwan in her tenure. And in 2022, she became the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit the island in 25 years. Do you agree with her actions? If elected in Congress, will you be doing the same or something different?
I do support Nancy Pelosi's decisions, and she's a She's a strong, amazing leader, and she can go wherever she wants. And so she chose to go to Taiwan, and I support that. I also support her fight for human rights in Tibet and among the Uyghurs. And so I stand with Nancy Pelosi. The U.S.-China relationship is incredibly important, and we need to work together on climate, on economic prosperity. We should not have trade wars. We need to work together. But there are also differences. And the U.S., I support the U.S. policy to support Taiwan's defense. I support the sale of defensive arms to Taiwan. I do not think that Taiwan should be conquered. But we also have to make sure we don't get to the point where there is any kind of war. And when Trump gave Putin a permission slip in Ukraine by pulling back, that sends a horrible signal. So I want peace, but we must stand with democracies, and that includes Taiwan.
While I have a lot of respect for Speaker Pelosi, I do not agree with her decision to go to Taiwan in 2022. That was a provocative action, and the absolute worst thing that could happen right now is a full-on war with China. What we see in Washington is a bipartisan hawkishness towards China, and that's resulted in a Cold War. And that Cold War has real effects here. As we ratchet up the tensions with China, we see an increase in anti-Asian hate in our own backyard. In Congress, I will fight to stop the Cold War with China. I'll also fight to stop the blanket tariffs that we have on China today. And I want to move towards a world where we're cooperating with China. We may not agree on everything, but there are major international issues like climate change, nuclear proliferation, and the runaway threat of AI where we must work with China. At the same time, I'll maintain relations with Taiwan, but we'll make sure that it is not provocative. What we see in Congress, though, is Republicans and Democrats want to create this sort of hawkish stance towards China. So to move towards a world of peace, we are going to have to replace this consensus for war that we have in our country. And it's going to mean replacing both Democrats and Republicans in D.C.
I was born in Hong Kong, and I went to Taiwan for my grade school education. And I came here when I was 13 years old. So the situation with China and Taiwan, and as well as U.S., is deeply, deeply personal. And this is a time that I find that U.S. ought to play the role as agents for peace, and to truly respect dialogues between U.S. and China, and to really look at it that tariffs that Trump has pushed forward really hurt our relationship. And that as agents of peace, that I advocate for us to really make sure that we can encourage Taiwan and China with that direct dialogue. It's important.
Peace and security in the Strait of Taiwan is essential to the whole world. We need this. We need Taiwan for frankly, for our national security, because they are the largest chip builder in the world. So preserving our relationship with them is extremely important. I do support Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. I do appreciate and support the strong stand that she took there. Our relationship with Taiwan is critical. However, we also need to ensure that we have a working relationship with China, and that requires diplomacy, and it also requires us to bring diplomacy to that region and ensure that there is no meltdown of the world order there, because it ensures the stability of the entire region. So on that front, I would say we absolutely need to respect both of them. I think the strategic ambiguity that the United States has practiced for many years now is probably a very smart way to go. Thank you.
Thank you. And now is the fourth question. It will start with Choi Kai.
One real quick correction on translation for Scott.
Apparently I was misinterpreted that saying that I support Taiwanese independence, and I did not say that. And so I want to make sure that the interpretation was correct for that.
Yes, thank you. Your campaign team has just corrected it in Chinese. Thank you so much. So sorry for that misinterpretation.
So the first question will start with Choi Kai. What will be your first priority if you, as a member of Congress, what would be your first legislation if you got elected?
Thank you. I have many priorities to focus on the economy here, but in 2026, Donald Trump will still be president, so it'll be difficult to pass things like Medicare for All and universal child care. But what we can make progress on is anti-corruption issues and foreign policy. The first piece of legislation I will introduce is a ban on members of Congress from doing insider stock trading. This is an issue where 90% of Republicans and 90% of Democrats agree. However, leadership does not give a vote on this because leadership wants to protect their members. I'm not going to go along with that. I'm going to file what's known as a discharge petition to force a vote on this issue, have everybody take the stand. This is the same legislative maneuver that Ro Khanna and Tom Massey just used to force the release of the Epstein files. And I believe I can go beyond that to doing the same on banning members of Congress from becoming lobbyists. It's another way corruption takes hold in DC. And also on cutting the military budget, another issue where a vast majority of voters, Republican and Democrat, agree, but a vast majority of our politicians do not.
Next will be Connie Chen.
I am immigrant. We are immigrants. We know how to fight for our rights. So on day one in Congress, we will fight for Medicare for all. We will reverse all the Donald Trump cuts to our health care. And not only that, we're going to do more for Medicare for all. We're also going to make sure that we have funding for affordable childcare and fully fund our K-12 classroom and free city college is what we're going to do in Washington, D.C. And we know at this moment we need to be a voice for our immigrant community. We're going to push back. We're going to invest in our community and make sure that our immigrant community has pathway to citizenship. And we fight and affirm sanctuary city and our birthright citizenship as well as our naturalized citizenship. And this is what we will do. We're immigrants and we know how to fight. And I will fight for you in Congress.
My top priorities in Congress will focus on benefiting San Francisco families and all of you. I want to lower the cost of living because life right now is just not affordable. We need to focus on a lot of things, including expanding child care credits, returning ACA credits, and things like that to lower the cost of living. I want to expand economic opportunities. I want to strengthen public safety. And I am going to be a big fighter in Congress for American leadership in tech and AI. This is an area we do not want to cede to anyone else in the world, and we are constantly kind of under attack for that. So those are a lot of the things I will focus on. I also want to ensure that your voice is heard. So I will definitely be listening to you, talking to you, and taking your concerns back to Washington, D.C. so that I can bring resources back to San Francisco. Thank you.
On day one, I will focus on making sure that the federal government gets back into housing to provide the funding that we need for mixed income housing and to make sure that we have financial support for low-income renters who are struggling to pay the rent. We need more vouchers and other supports to make sure we have stable housing. Healthcare will also be a top priority for me. I support Medicare for all. And until we get there, we have to fix the broken healthcare system we have, to force insurance companies to cover more kinds of care, to get rid of most prior authorizations, to reduce the cost of prescription drugs, things that will make people's lives better and more affordable. We also need universal child care, and we need a federal paid family leave program, which it's embarrassing we don't have in this country. Finally, we have to shore up our democracy, and that means a new Voting Rights Act to get rid of all of their work to stop people from voting, independent redistricting across the country, and to protect the civil rights of immigrants and LGBTQ people and reproductive health.
Here comes to question 5, which starts from Connie. High housing costs are pushing many Asian American families out of San Francisco. What kind of federal housing policies would you support and or propose to preserve housing affordability in historically immigrant neighborhoods, including expanding pathways to home ownership and supporting public housing?
In San Francisco, we have built housing, and what I've learned that there are 2 key elements to build housing that people can afford is land and money. And San Francisco has done really well. We invest in public dollars and bond dollars, as well as identify lots that we can build with those dollars, those public dollars, to build housing that people can afford. But we also understand what's important is to preserve the existing housing that we have in our city by providing rental subsidies, by supporting those families that are living in SRO and living in affordable housing, that we make sure that they can stay housed. This is why in Congress, I will be working on the repeal of fair cloth, so that we can expand and increase rental subsidies from the federal government. And we want to build more housing, again, supported by federal grants and federal support and resources. But we also know that it's not enough to just build housing for low-income families. We need to build also workforce housing for our teachers, nurses, and first responders and firefighters, so that they too can live in our city.
The median net worth of Americans is just under $200,000. That's among homeowners. The median net worth of Americans who don't own a home is $10,000. We need to encourage home ownership and development of more housing in San Francisco, because it is a path to creating wealth and generational wealth in families. It is a way to have a nest egg for retirement. One way we can do this in San Francisco that I have not heard anyone talk about previously is use the public land that we have, including, since we're talking about federal office here, the Naval Shipyard. Remediate that and start building lots of housing there quickly. There are 6,000 acres of San Francisco-owned land here. Many, many hundreds of parcels are unused or underutilized. That is a very quick way that we can start creating more housing and bring down the cost for everyone. Thank you.
Over the past decade, I have helped lead a movement that we've built here and across the country to build more homes. We don't have enough homes, and it's exploding the cost of housing and pushing people out. As a member of Congress, I will work hard, and we just rolled out a platform about this, to make a generational investment in new housing from the federal government. And that a $1.2 trillion investment over a decade, paid for by reversing big parts of the Trump and Bush tax cuts for wealthy people and corporations. We need to make sure that that is being used for mixed income housing in local communities, and that housing is getting permitted and built quickly, and we are making good use of those tax dollars. We need to make sure that we are helping with low-cost financing for multi-unit construction. That market is frozen in this country, and we can, through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, help unfreeze that market. We need to increase Section 8 and the low-income housing tax credit to spur affordable housing construction, and we should be paying cities that do the right thing by actually building a lot of new homes.
Housing is a place where politics as usual has completely broken. The first place I rented when I moved to San Francisco was $500 a month. And no matter anything we've tried, that same place now is about $2,000 a month. We simply do not have the tools available to us at the federal government level to make housing affordable. Low-income housing tax credits are not enough. So that's why I call for creating a new entity called the Reconstruction Finance Corporation. This existed during the New Deal and the World War II era, and this could directly finance and build affordable housing. It could even spin off public developers to build the housing when private developers won't. It can do things like stockpile lumber and steel to control costs in the housing construction industry. And on top of that, it could even renovate our broken down SROs and a lot of the housing in San Francisco that needs renovation. In Chinatown, we had the New Asia project that was stuck in development for about a decade. If the RFC existed, that would have been built in a matter of years. On top of that, we do need rental subsidies, and we need a federal recognition of tenants unions. But the reality is, real estate developers control our politicians, and they make sure that none of this happens. I take no real estate money, and I'm going to break the control of real estate developers in Congress.
And now here comes to the question number 6, and then we'll start from Marie. Nancy Pelosi has been representing San Francisco in the Congress for decades. Can you give one example of what you would do differently if elected to Congress?
So I was a little girl in San Francisco in class with one of Nancy Pelosi's daughter when she was elected to Congress. It is amazing to me that she has been the congressperson my entire sort of cognizant life. I respect her tremendously. I think she has done a lot of things really well. Probably one thing that I would do differently is really engage a lot more with the community and with different aspects of the community. She's at such a high level that I think it's harder for her to get back and do this now because she's so high up and so respected. But I want to make my representation truly representative of this community and coming back and talking to people all the time. I am a bold bridge builder. I run Connected SF, and the way we get things done in San Francisco is that we bring people together and we listen to them, even the people we disagree with, and we work towards solutions. So I think I would do more on the ground engagement as your congressperson. Thank you.
You know, I think sometimes we in San Francisco have taken Nancy Pelosi for granted because we're so used to having a force of nature representing us, and people don't always remember everything she's done. She's moved mountains on healthcare, on around immigration, for people living with HIV, LGBTQ people, for working families, child tax credit. I could go on and on and on and on. And even when she was Speaker of the House, I would see her at community events in San Francisco, so she never forgot where her roots were, and so I am in awe of her leadership. What I will say is one area where I wouldn't call it a disagreement, but it is a high priority for me is housing, and housing will be a top priority for me. I think that the politics have changed, and we have more and more support for a pro-housing policy to end our housing shortage and to reduce the cost of housing for people, and that will be an absolute high priority for me.
I have a lot of respect for Nancy Pelosi, especially the pioneering work she did when she first entered Congress on the HIV/AIDS crisis. But there are several areas where I would be different from Nancy Pelosi. For one, I would support tuition-free public colleges and trade schools. This is something that would only cost $80 billion a year. That's less than how much we increase our defense budget every year. We can absolutely support it. I would also support Medicare for all. On top of that, I would make sure we ban members of Congress from trading stocks. Members of Congress have access to insider information that they use to trade stocks and make tons of money off of that. I would also ban members of Congress from becoming lobbyists. Currently, industries recruit members of Congress to become lobbyists after, and that's how they make sure the members of Congress do their bidding while they're in Congress. Finally, on top of that, I would be different on foreign policy. Speaker Pelosi did vote to increase the defense budget last year. I would not vote to spend another dime on the defense budget. The Pentagon has never passed an audit. We need to slash the defense budget. And finally, I would commit to doing town halls multiple times a year while I'm your representative. Thanks.
Okay, time flies. We're coming to the closing statement, and the starting process order should be Scott first.
I think when we think about who is going to step into this seat representing San Francisco after almost 40 years of an absolutely iconic leader who has moved mountains for San Francisco and for our nation, we need someone who wakes up every morning thinking, what am I going to do for San Francisco today? That is what I do. I wake up every morning, and I've done that as a member of the Board of Supervisors on the State Senate, working with our city, delivering for our communities over and over again. We also need someone who doesn't just talk about achieving progressive goals, but has shown the ability to build the coalitions to take on some of the most powerful interests in the world to deliver and to pass laws implementing progressive goals, and I have done that. I have fought with the oil industry, with the telecom industry, with the health insurance industry on behalf of San Francisco residents, on behalf of consumers, on behalf of the public, to make our city and our state a better place. And I will take those skills and that passion and that love for San Francisco to represent us in Congress. I will do this community proud, and it would be such a deep honor to represent San Francisco in Congress. Thank you.
San Francisco faces real challenges: crushing costs, homelessness, underfunded schools. So we need Medicare for all and universal child care. We need to cut the military budget and reinvest that in education, housing, and transit. And we must end corruption, ban members of Congress from trading stocks inside, and end corporate money in politics. And right now, all of that is possible because I'm not the only one running to do it. There are candidates all over the country running against a corrupt establishment, and I'm reaching out to them to organize a team of us that will go and change what's possible in Washington. Look, Congress is not Sacramento or City Hall, where Democrats run everything, and I'm the only one on this stage who's managed to turn big ideas into real action in Washington. I'm also the only one willing to take on not just Republicans, but a corrupt Democratic establishment. I'm not running to join that broken establishment. I'm running to change it.
It is extra special for me as an immigrant and someone who grew up in Chinatown to be in Chinatown in our Victory Hall, to be standing in front of you and running for Congress. It is amazing to be here, and I'm very grateful to be here. As your Budget Committee Chair, we have been fighting for our community. We prioritize funding for healthcare, for education, for our immigrant community. We fight funding for tenants, for housing, and for transit. With that same tenacity and same spirits and same commitment, I would take our agenda collectively as working people from San Francisco to Washington, D.C. I understand our pain and I understand our voices. This is our moment. This is a historical moment for us, for our community, to take our voice from San Francisco and to Washington, D.C. And especially in Chinatown and in Victory Hall, where we've been told time and time again, we cannot get out of Chinatown. But this is our moment. We will take our working people's agenda, our immigrant agenda, from Chinatown, from San Francisco, and all the way to Washington, D.C.
First, I want to say thank you to all of the organizations that sponsored this event today, and I want to say thank you to Joyce and Ling for conducting an incredibly professional, wonderful debate. Thank you, or forum, excuse me, forum. So thank you. I want to share with everyone here that this is my first opportunity to speak publicly since I entered the race for Congress. I only entered this race 3 weeks ago. And I entered it because I didn't see the values of common sense and pragmatism being represented in the race. I didn't see the values of the communities that I have stood shoulder to shoulder with fighting for things here in San Francisco represented in this race. And so I decided at the last minute to get in. And I am so grateful for this being my first opportunity to speak because I feel very, very connected and close with this community. We have fought for things in San Francisco together. I left my job in tech 6 years ago when Chesa Boudin was elected because I did not want him as my DA, and I wanted to figure out what was wrong in San Francisco. And I have been fighting for San Franciscans, not our screwed up government. I have been fighting for San Franciscans every day since I left my job 6 years ago, and I have worked with so many of you, and I'm so grateful for your participation and your engagement in making San Francisco the best place it can possibly be. And I have also realized, as I have engaged in this fight, hand-to-hand combat on a daily basis with our city government, that you really need to be in office to make a difference. That's why I supported Daniel Lurie. He has brought the exact kind of outsider perspective and pragmatism and common sense and lowered the temperature of the battles in San Francisco and actually got things done. And that is what I will do for you in Washington, D.C. I will lower the temperature. I will work with people to actually make things better for San Franciscans and for all Americans. I really hope to earn your vote. I love this community. I feel like our values are very aligned, and I am looking forward to representing you in Congress. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Troika. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Scott, for spending time and answering all the questions that Asian American cares about. It means a lot in terms of the decision making for the voters. And because of the time limit, we still have more questions for you guys. So now, please have the 4 candidates come forward. We are going to present the questions from our audience and from the co-hosts, and for you to bring home to answer. It's a homework.
Thank you for the homework.
The San Francisco Public Press creates a series of public affairs programming, including our award-winning Civic podcast and radio show, which delivers in-depth reporting and conversations on government, public policy, and accountability issues shaping San Francisco and the Bay Area. Civic specials forward the work of other reporters, and Civic Presents includes San Francisco Public Press events and discussions with newsmakers. All of these programs are online at ksfp.fm and on the radio at 102.5 FM in San Francisco. Subscribe to our podcast by looking for Civic from the San Francisco Public Press wherever you get your podcasts. Our team includes San Francisco Public Press publisher Lila LaHood and KSFP program director Mel Baker. I'm the host of Civic, Sylvie Stern. Thanks for listening.